Hi, my name is Lynea from Love and Rebellion Games. I'm about to jump into a game called Infinity from Corvus Belli. I'm not sure how it's properly pronounced, but that's my guess. I've never touched a miniature game before, and what I'm going to be doing today is opening my first box of Infinity product and give you my thoughts and stuff, because after Ray and I build our forces, paint them, we're going to do our first battle within Infinity, and we'll be actually recording all of it for you guys to see. So yeah, I've read a tiny bit about Infinity so far, and from what I read, it seems like compared to most tabletop miniature games, it's actually going to be very unique in its gameplay, because you can actively act like shoot or whatnot while you're moving, and your opponent can react as you do movement within their sight line. So it's not like you can shuffle and you're fine. They can actually go after you. That's kind of an interesting concept. I feel like it's more like a video game concept merged into tabletop gaming. So I'm kind of really interested to see how this plays out. Specifically, the group that Ray chose for me, he chose Pan-Oceania. What I read about them is basically they are, well, I should probably say what Infinity is before going into specifically Pan-Oceania. Infinity is set in the far future. So it's us and aliens in the future, and in this setting, Pan-Oceania specifically is basically several nations that came together and continuing on the Western culture idea of democracy and commerce. And due to the commerce side of things and how high-tech a lot of their systems are and how much money they have to basically throw around and stuff like that, they can seem pretty conceited. And so, interesting thing. But I personally think that they look pretty cool. I'm getting sort of a night vibe with their outfits. Sort of like a futuristic knight. And the cloak that I'm seeing on this side, that looks really neat. Doing the honeycomb design, that is cool. And then him having a cross-like design on it, I'm definitely interested. This box specifically says Military Order Pan-Oceania Sectorial Starter Pack. Pan-Oceania. And then the little dot here says Pan-Oceani Christi Militarium Ordo. Coli Lux Nostra Dux. I'm not sure if I pronounced any of that correct, but I tried. But I do also like the idea of like an energized sword and stuff. I think I can have some fun with that. Kind of sad that he has a normal sword, he has an energized sword. Depending on what the weapon profiles themselves says, I'm just sort of going to go from there. Alright, Opening! Unloaded and wound. So being that this says wound, I'm going to guess that if you cut the thin little cardboard flaps out of the box, it comes with sort of tokens. Would be more interesting. I don't think it's gonna last very long, but it is an interesting concept to provide it within the box. So let me actually look at the other side too. Okay, wound and prone is on the other side. And then inside was another box. This is actually interesting because I'm used to most tabletop miniature boxes coming with just the loose sprues inside and a lot of damage happening from them. So, especially being that this is pretty flimsy cardboard, it is really nice to know that it's really well packaged and nice. So this is good for a bird. Oh. So we have metal miniatures inside. Each of them have a code, quality control code. That's always good because I know that usually when there's a quality control within a miniature box, there's a higher likely everything's actually packed right and there's not major defects, and so it gives you more peace of mind when you're opening the models. So within the box, I'd rather not take everything out and hurt them, but there is a thick foam inside protecting them as they shift around. I did move it around a little bit, so I didn't realize it was metal inside, so that actually bodes well for their packing because that means that they were secure if you couldn't really hear the metal clink as it shifted around. Let's grab one that's not in the bag because all of these are in a bag. With most metal miniatures, what they usually do is they have these little tags from them being cut off of however they're being made. So gotta watch for when cloak ends and when it's actually from, let's just call it a sprue. I'm not sure if it's correct in saying the metal is being cut from a sprue, but so gotta watch the details of the model as it goes, but there's not a ton of the sprue lines. There's not a ton of the little taggy things. And the miniature quality overall seems really, really nice. Got an interesting one design too. Sword actually seems a little flat in design. I think by looking at the picture you can just make it look really cool, so I'm not too worried about that. Let's see this model. Kind of neat, their visors too. Got the line and the other line. So the way the lines are crossing on the helmets, it's kind of embolaying across here. And since There's a Christy Maritime continuing that. Oh. This is a sprue of just weapons. Interesting. Wonder if that alludes to these models have choices. That's definitely an interesting idea. Oh, here's another sword, and this one's design isn't as flat, so maybe it was just a minor defect in the other one. But like I said, I'm not worried about how that would look. The honeycomb design is built into the model. Oh my gosh. You don't have to paint it. Well, you have to paint it, but you don't have to draw the lines to make that happen. Because none of these models have this design. So that's painted. But this, I was sort of expecting that to be painted too, but for it to be actual grooves inside. His actual outfit is really remarkable because it's gonna be really exciting to paint that because it's gonna look so cool. And with very little effort. There's little bits of terrain that they're standing on. Sometimes when you're supposed to be standing on something, but they're not like a big or important model or something for most tabletop miniature games, you're supposed to put something underneath their feet and they're like standing on one leg until you do something about it. Or you got some miniatures that go past their base and etc. So it's kind of interesting to see a little bit of that put into it. Because I don't mind miniatures like this that's on one foot because he's literally running. But when it looks like they're doing a stationary pose or stationary standing backwards, if your foot's up on something, that thing should be there. I don't know. That's just a personal preference because if you really wanted to mod it off, you could mod it off. But for anyone who doesn't want to mod it, it would be nice to already have it on. So it's nice to see it's on. Alright, so looking at the bases, I am surprised and confused. So I have a solid base, no slots going through it, and it's pretty small. Now the reason why I'm confused about no slots in it is whenever I see a model with a bar like this, what I'm assuming is to slide it in. I am surprised this is not. So that means every single one of these models I'm going to have to chomp through this really thick bar. Interesting. Yeah, so this is my favorite model. I am excited about the honeycomb design on the inner part of this part, and I want to make this look so cool. Now, when I do go to build and paint, I will mention that I am not a very skilled painter or anything. I do actually have majority of my models still in their original gray or silver form. And I am going to be taking the initiative for being able to do Infinity for the first time, putting down painted models onto the table. So wish me luck. If you want more content or you want to see something specific, please drop a comment, let us know. If you like and subscribe, it does help us with motivation for keep going and show you more box openings, building, painting, card construction, gameplay, all of that stuff. And with that, I will let you go. And